Every family has secrets, but the Whitmore family had something worse. They had a history of dying, quietly, conveniently, and always at the worst possible time for everyone else. This is the story of one dinner, one house, 6 people who sat down to eat together, and only 5 who walked away. The Whitmore estate sat at the end of a gravel road in rural Vermont, the kind of place that Google Maps still hadn't caught up with. 3 floors, 12 rooms, and a basement that no one talked about. It was November, the kind of cold that settles into your bones before you even step outside. The family had gathered for the reading of the will. Their patriarch, Gerald Whitmore, had died 3 weeks earlier. Heart failure, the doctors said. Nothing suspicious. Nothing to look into. At least, that's what everyone assumed. Until the family lawyer, a thin man named Mr. Aldous Crane, arrived with a sealed envelope and a very strange request. Gerald, he explained, had written a letter, to be opened only when all 6 family members were present, together, under the same roof. He had known something was coming. Let me introduce them to you, because in a story like this, everyone is a suspect. Margaret, Gerald's wife of 41 years. 72. Sharp eyes. The kind of woman who never raised her voice because she never had to. She sat at the head of the table, exactly where Gerald used to sit, and no one said a word about it. Thomas, the eldest son. 51. A failed real estate developer who had borrowed money from his father, a lot of it, and never paid it back. He spent most of dinner cutting his steak into smaller and smaller pieces without ever eating any of it. Renata, Thomas's wife. She smiled too much. That's the thing people remembered about Renata. She smiled at everything. The bad news, the tension, the silences. It was the smile of someone who had already decided how the evening was going to end. Claire, Gerald's daughter from his first marriage. 44. She drove 4 hours to be there and made sure everyone knew it. She and Margaret had not spoken in 6 years. They did not speak that night, either. Not directly. Daniel, the youngest son. 28. Still living in the guest cottage on the property. He was the only one who had actually been with Gerald in the weeks before he died. He looked like he hadn't slept in days. And finally, Mr. Crane himself, present at Gerald's request, a witness to whatever was about to unfold. 6 people. 1 table. The letter sitting in the center, sealed in red wax. Margaret looked at it for a long moment, then said, "Open it." Mr. Crane broke the seal and read aloud. Gerald's words were calm, methodical. He thanked each of them by name. He spoke of the estate, the assets, the property. And then, near the end of the letter, he wrote something that changed the temperature of the room. "If you are reading this and I am gone, know that my death was not an accident. I have known for some time that someone close to me intended to harm me. I did not go to the police because I had no proof. But I left proof behind. It is hidden in this house. Find it before it disappears." Silence. Thomas set down his fork. Renata smiled. Claire looked at Margaret. Margaret looked at no one. And Daniel pushed back his chair, stood up, and walked out of the dining room without a word. They found him 20 minutes later. Daniel was in the study, on the floor, unconscious, a shattered glass beside him, the smell of something bitter in the air. He survived. But only barely. The police were called. The house was searched. And in the false bottom of a desk drawer in Gerald's private office, they found what he had left behind. A journal. 43 pages. Handwritten. In it, Gerald had documented, in careful detail, the slow and deliberate poisoning of his own medication. Small doses. Undetectable individually. Fatal over time. And he had written down who he believed was responsible. With a reason, a motive, and a method. The name was someone in that room. I won't say the name right away. Because Gerald didn't either. Not at first. He built to it, the way a man builds a case when he knows no one will believe him. He wrote about the insurance policy. A $4.2 million policy, taken out 18 months earlier, with a beneficiary that had been quietly changed without his knowledge. He wrote about the medication. How pills had been swapped. How capsules had been emptied and refilled. How it had been done so carefully, so patiently, that it looked like nothing at all. And then he wrote the name. Thomas. His own son. Thomas, who owed him money he could never repay. Thomas, who had forged the insurance documents. Thomas, who had access to the house, the medicine cabinet, and, most importantly, the trust of a father who had never once stopped believing in him. Renata's smile, it turned out, was because she hadn't known, not the full extent of it. She had suspected. She had stayed quiet. In the eyes of the law, that made her complicit. Daniel had been poisoned that night because he had found the journal first. He had just been too afraid to say so at the table. Thomas Whitmore was convicted of first-degree murder 14 months later. Renata pled guilty to a lesser charge. She served 4 years. Margaret never sold the estate. She still lives there, at the end of that gravel road, in a house with 12 rooms and a basement no one talks about. And every November when the cold settles in, she sits at the head of that dining table, alone, and reads her husband's letter. All 43 pages of it. Some families carry secrets. The Whitmores carried something worse. They carried the truth, and buried it just deep enough that it almost stayed hidden. Almost. If you want more stories like this, subscribe. A new mystery drops every day.